Herkese selamlar. Hentbolhaber.net'te onur duyduğumuz bir konukla sizlerle birlikteyiz. Türkiye'ye gelmesinden dolayı zaten onur duyduk ve bize katıldığı için ayrıca onur duyuyoruz. Danimarkalı başarılı koç, sadece koç diyemeyiz tabii. Handball insanı hem oyunculuk döneminden hem de tabii ki antrenörlük döneminden. Helle Thomsen bizimle birlikte. Coach, welcome. Thanks for joining us.
You're welcome.
I would like to start with an obvious question for me. I know your career and where you started from and the last seasons you had with numerous teams. And this looks like a really interesting challenge for me. Do you see this as a challenge or is it just any other for you?
No, I agree with you. This is a challenge for me. This is a new country for me. This is a team where we try to build something up. But as you know, I want to try new things. And now I am here and I'm really happy to be here. And I'm looking forward what we can do for the team here.
When you say what we can do here, when you first had the offer and when you heard about the contract, for instance, what was the plan? How many years are you going to build the team up for what? What is the main goal? How many years would it take for you or the team? What do you think?
Yeah, first I have signed a contract 1+1. And I think when you want to build up a new team, a new club, then it will take time. And I think the most important thing is we take it step by step. Sometimes a club wants to go from one level and then we'll jump to a higher level. But I think we must build it up. And of course, it will take time. But I also hope that the club have time for that. Now we start with really hard training. We start with the new players here. They have a new coach. So it will take time. But I think the girls right now, they do a really good job here.
In the last couple of seasons, Kastamonu has built up a lot when it comes to European cups and also the squad as well. Before getting the offer from the team, Kastamonu, did you know about Kastamonu at all? Were you following the team? Did you have an idea?
Yeah, I have seen the team play before. I don't know so much about the handball down here, but I have Kastamonu. I have seen them play games last year, and I have also seen them. They have played against Danish team earlier, so of course I have followed them. I follow most of the teams out in Europe also, but you know we have changed a lot of players, so we must try to keep the player a little bit longer time, and then we must build it up step by step. I think that's the most important for the club now.
When we look at your career, both as a player and as a coach, you come from a great tradition of handball, Denmark and Scandinavian tradition, let's say, and you have worked with many handball countries. And as you said, I didn't know much about Turkish handball. It is a developing country. And do you feel like this challenge has become harder because of the country's handball tradition, which is very low? And I think this is the lowest handball tradition country you've ever worked with, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that's the reason I said yes to come down here, because I want to be here and try to build something. I want to make a good team here in Kastamonu, but also I hope I can push the other teams, other coaches, other players here in the country to take one more step up. So it will be a better handball country down here. And for me, it doesn't matter how big the level the players have for me. The most important thing for me is that I have players that want to go 100% every day they go to training. And that's the way I want to work as a coach. I want to have players that want to work hard. And if they do that, then for sure they will be better every time they go home from a training.
Especially, I really wanted to see what you could do after Henk Groner and the Dutch national team. And he built something amazing and you took it to another level. Do you feel any resemblance, like Dutch handball wasn't that around before Henk Groner and you yourself, and you got some medals, and then they became champions as well. So do you think that this step-by-step method can be done in Turkey as well?
Yeah, I think this is the way you must do it if you want to make some great things. And now you said names like Henk and me, but remember there have been a lot of people in the Dutch handball that have worked many years before Henk and me. So it will take years. And also if you want to build something big here, you must be patient and you must build it up step by step. You can't do it over 1 and 2 years. This is about have young players that start to train early, and when they start to be good, then they can go to other clubs out in Europe. And you can see when I had the Dutch team, when we went to a championship, no one from the Dutch team were playing home in Holland. They play out in big clubs in Europe. And this was the way they build it up step by step. They start to be good home in Holland, and then players start to go out in big clubs in Europe, and then you will have the good national team. And it took a lot of years, but if you are patient and you build it up, then I think you have a chance to make some great things.
When you say they weren't playing at home, but they have started with, I think, the project in Davsen, Sarsodak Davsen, if I'm not mistaken. So then they build up another team, like a national team almost, in the club team, and then they became, they went abroad to great teams, and then the cups and trophies came. So do you think that Kastamonu Belediye can duplicate what Sarsodak Davsen did?
Yeah, I can hope we can do that stuff like they did in Dalfsen. But in Holland, they also have this academy where they took all the young players. They were going on the same place, go to school on the same place, and this was the starting when they start to have the good players. A lot of players, Lois Epping, Stefan Pohlmann, Laura van Heiden, they have all been on this academy. And then they have Dalfsen as a club team. So this was a good way to start because they didn't have 10 good clubs in Holland. And you can see if you work hard, you train hard every day, you will be better and better. And when you start to be good, the clubs out in Europe want you. And I think that is good for in Holland. It was good for the Dutch national team that they start to go out in clubs in Europe, because then they are coming, every time they come home to Holland, then they have more and they can show the young players how it is to be a professional handball player. And this is the way you can build it step by step. You must show the young player what they must do to be a good handball player.
I think one of the most important problems we have in Turkish handball, Turkish players do not want to go and play abroad. But lately we saw from men's team, they started going abroad, different cultures from different leagues, build up in national team. But we're missing this in the women's team, I think. If the idea of yours to make them play here and then go abroad, I think success will come at some point, right?
Yeah, I totally agree, but I also hope there will be more clubs down here that will do the same, because if you only have one club, it's not enough. I think it's you more clubs that want to be professional, you more easy it will be. You better the tournament will be down here, you more players you can use from your own country. And I also think that is important, that you not only take players from outside, you also make the young players down here to learn them how to train. They can train harder, they can train more, they can be better, because they must also do that. Otherwise, the clubs out in Europe, they don't contact the players. So they must learn to build a professional week after week after week, start to train harder. I can see down here, we have players, now I've been here 1.5 weeks, then they train harder now, they do more now. And this is the way to be a good handball player.
I agree, and I think Kastamonu Belediye, after putting so much money in, so much investment with players and you now, I think Kastamonu Belediye has turned their eyes to European competition more than the league. I think this has some sort of danger to it, like thinking the step above and not trying to be okay with what you have. I think compared to the men's league, women's team, the women's league is really, really competitive. Did you examine the league? Did you examine other teams? What do you think about the league?
Yeah, I think it's important that you have focus on playing home in your home league, but also in Europe. So I think every time you go to a game, it doesn't matter if it's in your home league or is it out in Europe, then you must be so professional that you can keep the focus every time you play a game. And for me, I think it's important to win the championship home, but it's also important to play the games out in Europe. But right now, there are really strong teams out in Europe, and we must take care of that. A lot of clubs have been much stronger than last year. A lot of clubs have a lot of good players out in Europe that go to the same clubs right now. So that also means that some clubs are stronger this year than last year. But as I start this interview, I think it's important that we can find players in the future that want to stay here over a longer time, so we don't change 7-8 players every year. It's important that we can keep the players and then we build it. Otherwise, you must start from the beginning every year. So this is up to the club to find players that want to stay here for more than 1 and 2 years.
When we come to the team, are you happy with the team you have right now, or do you need special transfers for special positions or roles, or is this team you have right now is the team for the season?
Yeah, first I am really happy to train the players. I have been here 1.5 weeks, and I think every time we go to the gym, we have running, we are going in the handball hall, then they do 100%, and I like that. But if I see the team and look for how many games they're going to play the next year, then I think 14 players. I think if you want to be in top of Europe, then you must have more players. But again, I think you must take it step by step and don't do any stupid things. So if we are 14 players, then we play with 14 players. But if you look at the big clubs out in Europe, then they have 18, 20 players. And it means something when you are going to training, that you have 20 good players every time you have the training in the hall. So, but let us take it step by step and do the right things.
So mainly the depth of the squad, that's what you need first to be able to compete in both, because there's cup as well, like domestic cup, domestic league, and the third one, which is Europe. I think the squad needs more depth. Yeah,
I agree with that also, because I don't hope we will get in any injuries, but of course in the season you will have that. And you have from here, you have long traveling. So it's a hard week for players, handball players. It's not only about when they have training and games, it's also about all the traveling. It can be hard for a professional handball player.
You said I have signed 1+1 contract, and if I may ask, what is the +1? How can the +1 becomes the second year for you? Is there a main goal for yourself and the club that you have to nail, or is it just talk, contract talk?
Yeah, it's just talking. It's because every time I sign a contract, then it's important I feel well where I am, because if I don't feel well, then I'm not a good coach for the players. So this was the reason that I signed 1+1. It's because I think Kastamonu, they want the best of me, and that also means that I must feel well here. And I have never been here before, so that's what the reason I signed this 1+1. And then we must see when I have been here. But until now, I'm really happy to be here.
So what do you think about the city? I was going to ask that in the first bit of the interview. I don't know if you've ever been to Istanbul, Turkey, any of the Turkish cities. Kastamonu is a bit different than Turkish cities, like big cities, main cities, major cities. How's the life there? I know you're quite new there, but how's the life?
Yeah, it's first time I'm here, so but I like it a lot. I think I have it better than in small cities than the big cities. It's easy for me when I know the places and where I can go, and until now, I feel well here. I think the city is a nice city. The people have been really nice to me. So, yeah, I have only positive things to talk about when you talk about the city.
About small cities, I'd like to ask. You have worked in many cities, yes, and the countries as well, but especially for Turkish cities, small cities have better handball teams, and in Europe as well, I can see this too. There are many small cities that are that just have the handball team, and handball team is the first thing in the city. Kastamonu, any other sports teams, so I think all the concentration goes into your team. This is kind of a pressure, and also it's nice at the same time because everyone is with you in every game. So do you think this makes a difference?
At first, I like the press because that means that I must be 100% every time I go to training or go to games. So I like this press they put on the shoulder of me and the players. And I think it's a good thing when we are the only thing in the city, because as you said first, then they have all the focus in the handball team. I have been in clubs where we have been a football team, a handball team together, and of course, then it was a football team number one. So I think this is positive that we are the only one here, and I hope that we can do what they expect.
I think I'd like to ask what you wanna say to the fans while talking about them. What should they expect this year? What do you think will happen? And what would make you happy at the end of the season when you achieve something? What's the achievement that you will be happy with?
Yeah, it's easy for me. The people can expect that we have a team that will go 100% every time in all games, in everything we do. We will be 100% professional. And of course, in the end, I hope we have won the championship down here. And then we must see out in Europe, because you don't know when you are going to play against a really, really strong team. And I hope they will support us. And I hope out in the whole country that people will support the handball and try to make the handball life better and take it one step up, so the national team also will be better. So I hope we can be strong together and also work together so we can make the national team a little bit stronger.
Coach, thank you so much. As an ex-handball player and also someone who's working with handball for 10 years, this is an honor for me to have an interview, have a chat with you. I hope we will see each other sometime. Because of the pandemic, I don't know when I can come, when I can watch a game of yours. But I think this season, all of Europe will be having an eye on your team. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.